Hello, everyone. I'm Barbara Moss with In-Store Magazine, and welcome to today's Instappraise sponsored webinar, Master the Art of Jewelry Appraisals from Expertise to Profit. And I'm joined today by Raphael Boivin, CEO and founder of Instappraise, jewelry appraisal software for jewelers, gemologists, appraisers, and other jewelry industry professionals. If you have any questions you'd like to ask Raphael, write them in the questions section of your GoToWebinar control panel, and we'll take them after the formal part of today's presentation. Also, if Raphael asks you to answer a question for him, you can do so by also using the questions section in your control panel. There may be informal polls that he wants to take today. So Raphael, call me back for the Q&A. Until then, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Barbara. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us this afternoon, this morning, depending where you are in the world, in the US, in North America, wherever. But thank you for joining us today. As Barbara mentioned, we're going to talk about appraisals. So I'm the founder of Intappraise, a jewelry appraisal software for retailers, appraisers, gemologists, anyone who handles appraisals, basically. So today we're going to talk about how we can use appraisals to help your business. So we're going to go over a few slides. So today what we're going to do, we're going to talk about appraisals, why, what the challenges are, how you can use appraisals for marketing purposes, appraisal events, how you can use those to bring customers to the store, whether you are an independent appraiser or if you work for a retailer, if you're an in-store appraiser, basically. And then we're going to summarize everything to go over how we can optimize the revenue generated by appraisals. Not directly by appraisals, but how we can use appraisals to generate and optimize revenue for your business. We're going to talk about education. We're going to talk about our software a little bit. We'll give you a quick demo, and we're going to go over a Q&A session. So if you have any questions, the chat is disabled, like Barbara mentioned. The question section is open. So if you have any questions, feedback, comments, use the question section to mention any of those. So let's get started. So basically, we're going to start with why. So why providing appraisals is an important aspect to your jewelry business or appraisal business. So today we're going to talk from the perspective of a retailer or appraisers, and maybe even a little bit about the customer's perspective. So each point we're going to talk about both perspectives. So, so why provide appraisals? So if you look at the life cycle of an item, the item, you know, the new item is sold in store. So we're talking more about an in-store perspective at this point. But the appraisal at this point on a new purchase will be to build trust. Basically, put your name behind that sale, put the specification of the items, make it more official. What we do is we call it the birth certificate of every new item. So an appraisal on every new item is the best way to build the trust, like I said, put your name behind it, and literally the birth certificate of that item, branded, your brand, your name, your logo, your product, your services, all of high quality, it all matches. So build the trust with your customers. So just very simple reason. Second reason would be exposure. So any document that you hand out to your customers when they leave your store, they're going to have that document in hand. That document is going to travel. And what we mean by that is their friends may see it, their family may see it, the insurance companies, lawyers, so that document is going to travel. So the more documents you hand out to your customers with your name, your branding on it, indirectly speaking, is going to be a form of marketing. So keep that in mind. Why provide appraisals? I can ask you why not provide appraisals. If you're not providing appraisals, somebody else will. So the relationship with your customers, customer service, customers nowadays are looking for one-stop shop. They're looking for retailers or appraisers that will do as much for them as possible. So do not give your competitors the opportunity to talk to your customers. So if your customers have to walk out to go to a different providers, whether it's a direct competitor, a direct retailer, or an appraiser, you may be losing some of those relationships, or you're not fully, I would say, providing as much value as possible with those relationships. Now, if you don't feel comfortable doing appraisals, we're gonna address that as well. But keeping that relationship, offering appraisals, whether it is by an appraiser on staff or someone you contract, is gonna be very important. And also, none but not least, is a recurring revenue opportunity. So the appraisals are something that should be updated on a regular basis, whether it is 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. they are basically the only recurring revenue model we have in the industry. Sure, there's going to be repairs, there's going to be maintenance, cleaning, all these things, but you're kind of hoping for these things to happen. We're kind of hoping a prong loosens up, or something falls off, or something gets broken. We don't really want that for our customers. But the only stable revenue model we can hope for are surrounding the jewelry appraisal. So keep that in mind. We'll go over more of that in a few minutes, but keep that in mind. So trust, marketing, relationships, and recurring revenue opportunities for using the appraisal. So now we understand there are many challenges that come with appraisals. So we're going to look at some of those, once again, from both perspectives, whether it's the appraiser or retailers, anything in between. First thing is time. Creating a jewelry appraisal takes time. If you want a good appraisal, we're talking about an appraisal that looks great, that has a lot of detail, a lot of information, it's complete, it's signed, it's a great looking document with lots of information. Well, all of that takes a lot of time. It can take time. So that's the first challenge. A quality document will require a time investment on your part. Qualifications is also a challenge. Qualifications meaning education. Are you a GI graduate gemologist? Are you a diamond graduate? Or do you have none of those qualifications, which is perfectly fine. And we'll go over that a bit later as well. But basically, a lot of feedback we gathered over the past 5-6 years is, well, I'm not sure I want to write appraisals. I don't know how to write appraisals. My team doesn't know how to write appraisals. So qualifications can be a bit of a challenge, and we'll go over that again in a little bit. Training. Training, we're talking about advertising appraisal. Are you and your staff trained to upsell the appraisal product or the appraisal services within your company? So training your staff to push for more appraisals, to upsell more appraisals. We're going to talk about that as well. So, and then marketing. So marketing, if you're an appraiser, fresh out of school, or if you're a retailer and you have to advertise your diamonds, your watches, your repairs, your watch batteries, buying gold, all these things you're trying to advertise. You're trying to get to decide how you're going to advertise your appraisal services within all, across all these different products. So creating appraisals is the best form of marketing, is the first interaction with the customer that says, we do appraisals, is by creating that first appraisal with that sale. If you are an independent appraiser, then advertising can be overwhelming. How do I start advertising to my customers in my market? Is it, Google business profile, Facebook page, social media, paid advertising? It can be overwhelming. And the technical skills. So technical skills here, we're talking really about how to format your document. So the document, if we look at what makes your brand great, obviously the service, the quality of your products is very important, but how is it presented? Your boxes, your bags, the atmosphere in the store, everything looks great and feels great. How your team, welcomes your customers. Now, providing a document that doesn't look so good along with the rest of that marketing material is very inconsistent. So we'd love, if we can, to provide a great looking document. Presentation does matter. So formatting a document takes a bit of time. It does require some technical skills. We have, we talk to people that use Photoshop, InDesign, or Illustrator, those different graphic software to make those documents look great. In most cases, this is a great solution, but it's very addressed to a very narrow aspect of our audience. So it takes, technical skills. So now we've looked at why we should provide appraisals. We looked at, okay, we do acknowledge there are challenges to that with providing appraisals. So let's see what we can do for that. So here, just a quick example of why presentation does matter. As you can see, if you're trying to build trust with your customer, we have two different documents here with slightly different information, but the presentation does matter. Which one is going to generate the most trust with your customers? So emphasize heavily on presentation. Basically, what we did 5-6 years ago is we looked at jewelry appraisals on Google, went to Google Images, and we couldn't find documents that look great. Everything about the jewelry industry is about how things look. It's, how does the light reflect in that diamond, in that gemstone? How does the ring look, the necklace, all these things? How does it look with my outfit? Everything is about looks, and then 5 to 10% is about how it feels on your hand, on your neck. But presentation, very important. So another challenge, another aspect of jury appraisals that are very important. So let's address that in just a little bit. So now we've talked about the reason why, we've talked about the challenges, and we're going to talk about how can we use appraisals to market your jewelry business. So once again, provide appraisals. Providing appraisals to all new items sold is the best way to market your appraisal services, your appraisal business. Now, the appraisal is a bit of a time investment. We're going to go over how we can help you resolve those challenges a bit later, but the goal is not to generate more money using on appraisals. Of course, it is a nice revenue stream, but the goal is to create a hook for the customers to come back to your store in a year, 2 years, 3 years from now, or come back the next week with more items to appraise. So once again, when an item is created, is sold, provide a point of sale appraisal, provide to your customer, use that as a hook to say, oh, by the way, do you have more items at home that you'd like to get appraised? It's a nice way to introduce your services and upsell. So, and then also educating your customers. So educating your customers on why do you need appraisals for insurance, for example. For estate appraisals, fair market, your customers are going to come to you. They're going to be curious. They may need it from a legal perspective. They may need it just if they're curious about fair market value. How much can I resell this for? But basically, educating your customers on why they need appraisals, mostly for insurance, is crucial. So a lot of people we talk to, they provide appraisals to their customers on new items, on new pieces they just sell, and the customer has no idea what it's for. And when they learn about the reason why behind the appraisal, then they leave the store with a little bit more education. So they're more aware of why they need it. And yes, they may have other pieces of jewelry they have at home that may come back. So, that goes all hand in hand. Provide appraisals, educate your customers, and use it to upsell, to introduce the upsell to your customers. So provide the appraisal. Here's, with your item is a complimentary appraisal provided for free. By the way, do you have any other items at home that would require appraising? So great way to upsell, to introduce that upsell aspect to the customer. Updates. Now, updates, every appraisal you provide, every appraisal you create for your customer may need to be updated, should be updated every year, 2 years, 3 years. Some people say 5 years. We don't see a time limit. If you look at the Rolex or the luxury watch market over the past 5, 6 years, it's gone absolutely crazy, up and down fluctuations, from 15, like doubled in price. Like you talk about your Rolexes, your Patek Philippe, your APs, all those high-end brands. So an update every year in these cases is appropriate. If an item is a diamond jewelry worth $2,000 or $3,000, updating every year, 2 years may not be necessary. So we can go 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, as long as they're regular contact with your customers. So, and keep that in mind. The update is not, the goal of the update is obviously to help your customers. Are they overinsured? Are they underinsured? But really, our objective is to bring them back to the store, because while they come in for an update, maybe they'll wait in person. While they wait, well, guess what? There are a bunch of displays with beautiful jewelry all over the store. They're going to walk around, look at more jewelry. This is where your sales team comes into play. This is where they jump in and do what they do best, is sell jewelry. So we bring the customer back using the appraisals, using the updates, yes, to build the relationship, but mostly to get your customers to look at more jewelry and create more sales opportunities. So like I said, the appraisal is important, but the appraisal also brings back your customers, your traffic in store, to create more opportunities for new sales, which means new appraisals and so on. So that cycle, continues. So now, if you're an appraiser, if you're a retailer, you may say, well, I don't feel comfortable creating appraisals. So we talked about education, qualifications, skills, all these things. This is where building those relationships with retailers, building a relationship with appraisers, your local appraisers, and vice versa. This is where this is going to be a strong revenue generating formula for your business. So from a retailer's perspective, what is the advantage of running appraisal events or appraisal clinics, events in store? You may say, I'm a retailer, I don't feel qualified to do appraisals. Not a problem. Contact a local appraiser, build strong relationship with them, find someone that wants to come in store one day a month, 2 days a month. If you have a monthly event, bi-monthly, every quarterly, or once a year, it's more traffic you bring into your store. So if you're a retailer, if you have an in-store, an appraiser on staff, great. You can have those events anytime you want. Just your team's on board. You're fully in control of the environment with your own appraiser is not a problem. If you don't, build a relationship with your local appraiser that is going to provide reliable service on time, qualified, NAJA qualified, or it's basically, so the reason for that would be, in terms of the appraisal events, would be high volume. So you're marketing one event that's going to bring a lot of volume to the store. So you can market to your individual customers. So send, if you have 1,000 customers, send 1,000 emails, it's 1,000 conversations, or you could just say, look, we have this great event on Saturday, bring in your items, set up an appointment. So high volume into the store. So one marketing opportunity for a large return. In terms of the retailer, once again, if you have an in-store or an appraiser on staff, great. If you don't, build a relationship with that appraiser in town, and then you eliminate the risk associated with the expertise, qualifications, and any legal issues that may come in. So peace of mind, you hire a qualified specialist, you keep the relationships, they come to your store, you get an expert doing those appraisals in store, brings in a lot of traffic, a lot of people looking at jewelry, so great way to generate revenue using appraisal events. Maintain and build relationships. Once again, your customers want a full service company if they can. So keep that in mind. If you're not qualified to do appraisals, not a problem. Hire an appraiser, build a relationship with them. Once again, just repeating myself, but those are important things that, basically emphasizing it doesn't matter if you where you're at in terms of the qualifications, training, GI, graduate diamonds, or GG. There's always someone willing to help you out there in town. So, and then once again, the customers browse your store. So on a retailer's perspective, there's no downside to having appraisal events. So now, if we look from an appraiser's perspective, once again, if you are a new appraiser or if you're an established appraiser, you know the importance of building those relationships with those local jewelry stores. So go to door to door, meet the owners, meet the managers, sell yourself, sell your services. So here we're gonna, schedule an event. We'll come to your store. We'll bring the mobile lab. We'll provide great service to your customers, revenue sharing. If you're a new appraiser, this is a great way to kickstart your business. Basically, you could start advertising to B2C, so to the consumer audience, or you can go to those jewelry stores to say, look, if you don't do appraisals, let's advertise to your customers. I come to your store. We'll help your customers out, and then you get to keep those relationships as a retailer. So for retailers, it's a high volume assignment. Sure, those days may be long. They may be quite hectic because of the high volume. So lots of people bringing lots of items, but they're worth it. They are worth it. High volume assignments, 1-2 days a month, 1-2 days every other month for a great return. Those recurring events, once again, recurring revenue model, every month, every 2 months, get those events, make those a regular thing. And then for an appraiser, it's a way to optimize your marketing costs. So in some ways, it's a good way to say, oh, well, I can pay for Google ads, Facebook ads, or I can just go door to door, call my local jewelry store, set up a meeting, and then at the end of after a certain time, you'll have multiple events with multiple jewelers in town. Great way to grow your business. Depending on the relationship with that retailer or that jeweler, if you're an appraiser, they may say, you know what, come in the store or do those events. If customers come directly to you, that's perfectly fine with me. So depending on those relationships, they may be okay with customers coming back directly to you as an appraiser in the future. That is something you need to discuss with the retailer, how the agreement's going to go basically between the retailer and the appraiser, but there's always a good middle ground. If it's something they would prefer not to do, that's perfectly fine. You still get the events once a month, twice a month, But those are just conversations that you need to have with your partners. So perfect. So in summary, so we're going to summarize this. Basically, how do we optimize our appraisal revenue? Actually optimizing the revenue using appraisals. First thing is appraise. Provide appraisals, educate your customers, give them a signal. Yes, we do create appraisals, we do appraisals. Doing that simply by providing that first appraisal on that new sale, that new item. Very simple. We talked about the marketing aspect of it, the document that travels, all these things. Second aspect is upsell. So the original appraisal is a way to upsell more appraisals. And then after the upsell is update. So appraise, upsell, after a year or two, update. Emphasize the importance of regular updates to your customers. You know, diamonds, gold, metals, they're commodities. Price is going to fluctuate. Your customers may be overinsured, underinsured, or maybe they're just not appraised. Their items are not appraised. So use the update as a way to bring them back in the store, look at more jewelry, generate a bit of revenue using the updates. You're selling those updates, you're selling those services. It could be $50 an update, $50 an item, whatever the cost may be. Once again, keep in mind, the real reason is first to bring the customer back to your store. So the updates, very important. And then optimize and automate. Now we talk about updating. Now, if I were to ask, how many of you contact your customers on a yearly or bi-yearly basis to get updates on their appraisals? So I would bet that most of you don't, because it's a lot of work. Who do you call first? And do you have time? When you call, they're working, they're at the office, and then in the evenings, they're, you know. So how do we help you with that? So it's automate. So to automate those tools to send out notifications to your customers, build relationships is very important. So we're gonna look at how Instappraise helps you do that as well. And events. So the events, last point we mentioned, is use those events as a way to build and strengthen those relationships with your customers, and then with local businesses in town. If you're an appraiser, you could want a relationship with jewelers. Jewelers want a relationship with a qualified, reliable appraiser. So this is basically a summary of how we can help monetize your data and optimize your revenue as a jewelry business using appraisals. Now, automating, so all these things are great. What about education? So education, we have great education partners. If you don't know how to do appraisals, so some of our users or some of the people we talk to are graduate gemologists, but they still don't feel comfortable valuing. So this is where those great organizations like NAJA, International School of Gemology, George Brown College, those are our closest partners, but there are plenty of other schools, ASA, and AGA and so on. So there are others out there, but basically National Association of Jewelry Appraisers, International School of Gemology that teaches. So both those organizations teach appraisals. George Brown College, you know, they have the jewelry program. We have those URLs on here. So now, what are the benefits? So the benefits. So we recently announced last year actually scholarships. So NAJA, so we have a special scholarship. We have two special scholarships with NAJA. So we thought education seems to be a challenge. How can we help? How can we help the industry? How can we help you? You know, maybe time is a factor. Maybe the investment financially is a factor. So we thought, let's make it as easy as possible to access that education and knowledge. And we just launched those NAJA scholarships. So we have scholarships so NAJA, the way they do is they structure their lessons in 2 different tiers, the first 5 lessons, and then the last 6 to 18. So there's a typo where it says 6 to 8, but it's 6 to 18 actually. So there's 18 lessons. So we offer 2 scholarships, one for the first tranche of the education aspect and one for the second tranche. You can apply online on our website, Intappraise.com. Scroll down to the bottom for the NAJA scholarship section. Other benefits to that is for ISG graduates, any registered gemologist appraiser graduate from the ISG, International School of Gemology, gets 1 year for free on Intappraise. So, you know, we're trying to repeat how to, you know, those little things you can do in store, little things you can do in the office to help, you know, educate your customers If you don't have the education, we're going to help you do that. If you don't have access to the tools to help you do that, we help as well. So those free subscriptions are available to subscribers, to graduates of the ISG and graduate of George Brown College. And NAJA scholarships also include a year for free on the software. So yeah, we're basically trying to elevate the industry as much as we can, help new students, or help if you are in the industry. So no matter what, look those up, the ISG, NAJA. If you're looking for more education, we're going to help you. They're going to help you. We try to do our best to give you all the tools you need to use appraisals to help with revenue internally of the business. So that pretty much concludes, the part where we talk about the marketing aspect, generating revenue with your appraisals and so on. So we're going to talk about some of the tools we offer to help you those things, to help you with all those aspects. So when it comes to Instappraise, we're an appraisal seller. We're going to just go over a few little quick features right now, but basically Instappraise offers a step-by-step process. We basically walk you one step at a time, answer the question one at a time. We generate the document for you to give you everything you need on a proper appraisal. Now, this software is not meant for just everyone. It's meant for people in the industry that have diamond graduates, basic knowledge. Like I said, it all depends on if you're talking about an NAJA level appraisal, US VAT compliance and so on, or you're talking about a point of sale valuation, which we could call a document of sale, document of purchase, whatever you want to call it, but literally it's for insurance purposes. So step-by-step process, make it fast and easy. We guide you and your team throughout across the process, so very simple to use. Some of the new features we're going to talk about. So presentation does matter. We just came out with a new trifold format. We love GI, we love IGI, but when you offer a piece of jewelry to your client, if you hand out the appraisal with that piece of jewelry, it's going to come with a nice GI report and a nice plastic sleeve. We want your brand to come first. So we wanted a document that you could format in store, fold, put in that sleeve, to basically say that it is your brand that comes first, not the GI brand, IGI brand. Those are important, but we want your brand to come first. We integrate with 8 different labs, including GI, pull diamond information in just a few seconds. We'll show you that in just a minute. But basically, this is how we can help save you time. We talked about time-consuming process. This is how we can help you. We're talking about presentation, time-consuming, the skills and education. We take care of all that for you. Now, in terms of distribution and building those relationships, Instappraise users benefit from a customer portal for their customers. What that means is their account comes with a white labeled customer portal where they can give access to their customers, their appraisals online on their phone, tablet, computer, where they can sign in, view their appraisals, print copies for them to insurance companies. So when you look at the appraisal life cycle, there's more to it than just creating the appraisal. There's going to be distribution. So printing that document is one more step. If you don't have to print that document, you can just use the customer portal. It's not meant to replace the paper version, it's just meant to complement the experience. So, so that concludes that part of the presentation. We'll jump into a quick demo of the software. But basically, we have a free trial. You can schedule a demo from the website. We'll put that up at the end of the presentation here. But let's jump into the software. So let me just share a different screen here. Perfect. Okay. So I'm assuming, I'm hoping everyone sees my screen at the moment. So Instappraise is a website. We get a lot of questions. Can I install it? Is it compatible with Mac, Windows? Yes, it is a web-based platform. Go to the website, sign into your account, and you land on your account summary page or dashboard. And what we see here is our latest 50 or so items we've appraised. So we'll just jump into an appraisal and show you how quickly we can complete that process. So we'll click create an appraisal. As you can see at the top of the page, we have a 9-step process. We have a new step called documentation, we just introduced earlier this year. Now, this first section, who was it referred by? This is going to be if you're an appraiser doing business with multiple stores. We're going to say from ABC Jewelers, for example. So who are you hired by? Are you hired by the customer or are you hired by the client, which is a jewelry store? So in this case, this part is going to be optional. If you're a retailer, you won't need that option. but it is there for appraisers. So it's ABC Jewelers, it's a new customer. We could do existing customer. We'll search for Jane Doe. Perfect, save and continue. We could do a stock appraisal as well. If you're a retailer, if you want to do a stock piece, you could do that. Save and continue. Document type. As you can see, lots of document types: estate, FMVs, retail valuations, insurance appraisals, different document types, grading reports as well with no values. So insurance appraisal, keep it simple. Document number we give you by default. We'll enter an item name. So ladies diamond pendant, for example. Now, I would usually do a ring, but we introduced new features. So I'll show you what we've added. So in this case, we could do a pendant, but the reality is that pendant is often going to come with a chain. So we're going to do a chain and a pendant. We do the combination. So pick the item type, chain and pendant, save and continue. What Instappraise does is it's going to walk you through all the steps for a chain and then for the pendant. We're going to describe the chain and then describe the pendants. We have a full description of the item. All we need to do here is go over the properties listed on the left and answer the questions one at a time. So I'll go fast, but basically each step is optional. You can pick one value or multiple values. So here, how many chains? It's one chain. It's ladies. If you don't feel comfortable with the gender, you can skip that. So it's just a chain, no ladies or men's. So it's a chain. It's custom made, handmade. It could be machine made, for example. So custom made, machine made. It could be hammer finished or polished. We're going to go rhodium plated. I'm just making things up here, so don't put too much emphasis on the values I'm selecting. If you do test the metals, click select test and confirm to be. So 18K white, save it. The era, we'll skip that. It's a modern style. It could be flat or fancy, oval, whatever chain style you want to use, chain link style. And then it's going to be a Cuban link, for example. The band, just the chain itself weighs, let's say 5 grams. You can work in penny weights. You can have measurements such as the length, let's say it's 10 inches. The width is, 4 millimeters. Pick different units, thickness, all that, save that. So that's all optional. It is not stamped, so no stamps, maybe on the class, but we'll skip that. Brand new condition, perfect. We've described the chain, we're going to describing the pendant. So now the pendant, same thing, one pendant, we'll just skip that. It is CAD design, designer made, or let's say customized, handmade. You can pick as many options as you'd like. Save that. It is, let's say, brush finished. Like I said, just making things up. Rhodium plated. It is white gold as well. You can pick a different metal if you wanted to. In this case, it's all white gold, tested as well. It is modern style. It is a diamond pendant. It is the era we're going to skip. It's going to be a cross pendant, or let's say a drop pendant. The pendant itself, just the pendant, will weigh 4 grams. You could put, length, width, all these things. We're going to skip that. It's then 18K, and here is ABC is our brand, so ABC is going to be our hallmark. Save that. Brand new condition. Perfect. So without barely touching the keyboard, we have a full description of the chain and pendant. Now, we did mention it's a diamond pendant. We'll go over that in just a minute. If we're happy with the description, that's great. Save and continue. This is what the software generates for us, and this is what we can enter manually. So you can override the entire thing if you want. If you're not happy with this, you can override the whole thing. If you want to add to it, perfect, no problem. So this is additional information, et cetera, et cetera. So you're fully in control of the description process. Save the description. Now it's time to talk about what's on the pendant, what's on the chain. So we're going to talk about diamonds, gemstones, watch models, pearls and opals, clasps, backings, notary comments. Those are all our components we can add. So we haven't quite finished describing the item. So this is what we're going to do here. So we're going to add a diamond component. You can pick the shape. You can do it manually, no problem. Pick the shape, measurements, so 7 by 7.2. As you key in those values, we calculate the estimated weight for you, show you the formula, show you the math. Very comprehensive. Now, if it's a brand new item, it's a GIA diamond, we don't need to do that. We'll say, okay, it's a GIA diamond. Type in the report number, import data, and just like that, in 3 seconds, we have the full diamond information directly imported from GIA. So very, very quick. So automation is how we help you save time. How do we get a better document, a more detailed document in less time? And this is how we do it. A copy of the report is going to be included here. And this is a new feature here. So the settings, now we have a chain and pendant, we need to indicate where the diamond is set. So in this case, it's set on the pendant in the center, and it is, let's say, prong set or bezel set, or it could be 4-prong, 5-prong, 6-prong, save your diamond. There you go. So very, very quick. Now, we can keep adding more diamonds, side stones, halo stones, all these things. We can keep building as long, we can keep adding as much components as we need to until our item is fully described. So now I'm going to add a watch model in this case. It wouldn't make much sense to do so because we're doing a chain and pendant, but I want to show you how we can help with watches. So a lot of watch dealers nowadays starting to provide appraisals. So we're going to add a watch model, we'll delete it after. So what we do for watches, we do a little bit a similar process. So watches are manufactured. So if you give us a model number, we can give you all the specs on it. So here we're going to look at a brand. So Rolex is always the name that comes up. So we'll do a Rolex, we'll do a GMT Master, and we have all the models in our database. We have 40,000 models. You can pick model of your choice. If you have the reference number, you can type it in. So 116523, perfect. So this one is a Daytona, for example, but you can either browse our collection or you can type in the reference number to search what we have available in the database. So we'll do that. We'll pick the Daytona, two-tone, or we fill out the entire form for you. So enter the serial number and then fill out the band or bracelet information. Save the watch. So with just a few clicks, this is all the information we can give you because they are manufactured, because the information is public, it's consistent across all the different models or the different models within that collection. So we're going to delete that. We're going to delete the watch model. And then we're going to move on to the next step, pictures. So pictures you can take directly from your phone. Here we're going to upload a picture directly from our computer. It doesn't have to be a fantastic picture. It could be any picture. So we'll look at this ring as an old picture we took. Not great, lots of spacing. How do we fix that? Well, we're going to zoom in on it. So you don't need to take the perfect picture all the time. Now, there's a lot of light boxes that do that nowadays, which is fantastic, great quality. If you don't, we can help you format that picture in a great way. So pictures and videos. So videos, you can't print videos. Once again, we talked about the customer portal earlier. This is where that's going to come into play, is when customers log in to view their appraisals. So up to 4 pictures, save and continue. We jump to the pricing. So pricing for a new item in store, point of sale appraisal, you don't need to go to work backwards. You can say, no, we just sold this piece for 12,000. That's it. That's all we need. Perfect. You're done. Now, if you're an appraiser or if it's an item that was brought in from the outside you've never seen before, you may need to say, okay, I'm going to price the gold, price the metals, price the diamond, price the setting cost. And this is what that spreadsheet does for you. It does look intimidating, but it does a ton of work for you. We just need a little bit of information to help you out with the pricing. Now, keep in mind, the appraiser or the user is responsible for pricing, but we can help you quite a bit. So now, if you look at that diamond, look at the details, G color, SI1, X-ring cut, 1.37 carat, let's say 6,000 a carat. As you key that in, we kick everything for you. Retail markup, nowadays, 40% may be more appropriate, and that's calculated for you automatically. That price changes for you automatically. Now, we also integrate with GemGuide and RapNet. So my GemGuide account needs to be reconnected, but we put GemGuide pricing as well. Rap tells me that this diamond is worth $7,800 per carat, so we're going to use that. And we also adjust Rap by 20% by default. That's what we choose to do. And markup again, 40%. You can adjust your retail markups. You can do all these things. So pricing, if you're happy with it, good. You can round it up or you can overwrite it here, perfect. Setting costs, labor costs. For the metals, we subtract the weight of the diamond from the weight of the item. So the pendant weighs 4 grams, but the diamond is on the pendant. So we subtract it from that total weight. So we're left with 3.69 grams of metal, 18K white. We get real-time metal prices. We convert to grams or pennyweight, depending on the unit you use. So we do a ton of math and a ton of work for you. So we're happy with that pricing. We're going to say one of the price of gold on our document, save and continue. Tools that we've used, those are going to be basically just for transparency with your customer. We use a scale, we use the millimeter gauge, metal tester, diamond tester, save and continue, optional step. Documentation is a new step we've recently added. This can be enabled under your account settings from your main menu. This is basically allows you to attach any supporting documentation, whether it's a comparable, it's a receipt, it is a previous appraisal. It could be any PDF file that you want to add to your document. So this is a brand new feature, probably a few months old. So excuse me. So we'll save that, and we get to our document. So the document, if we need to make revisions, we could just travel back to the previous steps, but overall we're done. Looks good. We're going to sign and complete it. You can upload your own digital signature if you want to. Send us the file with format, add it to your account, sign and complete, and then we can print that document for our customer. So we'll print a digital document, digital format. So cover page, table of contents, those are enabled. We can disable those on our account. But they don't need to come with those. But basically, this is what a one-pager document would look like. But if you want an NAJA compliant report, we can do the cover pages, scope of work. NAJA has worked with us for those features, so we can help with that as well. And a copy of the GI report at the very end. So all of that very quickly. Now I'm going to exit that PDF. Now, what about the trifold? So we have multiple formats. The trifold looks just as great. If it's an item that you recently sold, you can print double-sided, print the document, fold it, put it in that sleeve. Paper is available on Amazon. We'll advise you on the best way for the best result, get it pre-printed by a printer and then all these things. So you can print this entirely from your office, from your printer. For best results, we'll advise on that, but it's very possible from your own office. So the trifold is a brand new feature as well. Very highly customizable colors, pictures, all these things highly customizable. So beautiful new format for you. Perfect. Now, one of the most underrated features that we have, and Barbara, we're going to be ready to take questions in just a few minutes here, but basically one of the underrated features that we have is going to be the multi-item reports. So multi-item reports is a way to combine the multiple documents together. So here I have those two appraisals. I can print them both separately, but what if I have 15? If I have 15 items, I don't want to print 15 different documents. I want to create a report, put those 15 items together into a single report, and print one document. This is what I'm going to do here. So create multi-item report from the customer page, pick the document type, insurance appraisal. This is, we're going to give it test as a number. I want to include my signature. I want to select all pages. So those are all the pages and documents that are eligible to be selected or included in that report. So we won't let you mix estate appraisals with insurance appraisals. We won't let you mix those different valuation types. So save and generate report, and we have our new report here. And if I print that, excuse me, we're going to be looking at a single document with a report summary. This is done for you automatically. Nice way, because we know your customer only cares about this one number. So they're going to see that. And then each item one after the other here. So just a nice, beautiful report for your entire collection. So saves you quite a bit of time. Your comparables here that you would have, your other GI reports, all these things included in your report. Now, another new feature is going to be appraisal updates. We talked about updates earlier. How does that work on a software like this? So we go to our appraisals, and we're going to order our documents by the oldest ones. So those were done in 2019. So let's pick an item here that was that was appraised in 2019. So we're going to look at that ring, and we see that it was appraised on February 8th, 2019. Don't worry about the number. That's probably like this appraisal. Let's pick another one because this one is a bit all over the place. So let's pick, let's say this one. We just threw some numbers, $8,000. See the video here. The video doesn't match, but just to highlight the feature. Now, on the sidebar here on the right, we have create appraisal update. So an update is, once again, the customer comes back a year, 2 years, 3 years from now, and they want an update on that original appraisal. We're going to create an update. We're going to ask you, wait, did you inspect the item again today, or is it strictly based on the information that you gathered a year, 2 years, 3 years ago? If you say no, that's fine, as long as you disclose it. So make sure you pick the right option. So no, I did not inspect it. It's purely digital. The customer promises me that they've kept the item in a safe, et cetera. Perfect. As long as you disclose it. So now we have two versions here at the top of the page. Those tabs were not there earlier. We have version 1 that ends with -1 and version 2 that ends with -2. So now this document is still in progress. What we did is we added that disclaimer that states that the this appraisal is an update based on a previously completed appraisal a year, 2 years, 3 years ago. So that disclaimer is here for you automatically. Now we're going to edit that document. Everything is the same. Pricing is going to change. So pricing, let's assume this went up to $12,000 today. We're going to save that real quick. Save that, save and continue. No additional documentation. Signing complete. Perfect. Okay, so now we have this new version. Version 1, version 2, different dates, different values, and we have a nice summary of the item. So the summary will show you the evolution of the pricing of the item and the metals within that time span. So here we have the original done in 2019, today's version in 2025, it went up 50%. In that time, a nice graph to show the value. And then in that time, we also show you the evolution of the metal prices during that same time period. So yeah, so updates is a brand new feature. Now what's coming up, we haven't announced that feature yet, but what the next thing coming up is going to be our update notifications. So everyone who's been using Intappraise for the past 3, 4, 5 years is going to have access to a notification feature that will notify all their customers on file. So every year, every 2 years, 3 years, we're going to notify those customers on your behalf, bring them back to your store, purchase updates. So the more data you've put into your account over the past few years, the more potential recurring revenue you can generate for it. So this is a feature that is hasn't been announced just yet. We are going to be launching this hopefully summer 2025. So within the next few months, 3 to 6 months, we're hoping is when that's going to be live. So basically, we want you to monetize your data. How do you monetize? How do you do that while being respectful of your customers' privacy? And that's how we're going to do that. So those features are optional, but we're basically just a tool provider for you to better run your business, monetize your data, and so on. So, excuse me. So that concludes our demo. So Barbara, if we have any questions, we can go over those.
We do, and thanks, Raphael, for a really informative presentation. We have a couple of questions about pricing for appraisals, and so I'll combine these for you. A retailer is asking, what is the average price for having an appraisal done? I feel like I don't charge enough. And another retailer is asking, with a certified gemologist appraiser, or should we still be charging an hourly fee, and at what rate would you recommend?
Right, so pricing, what we can tell you, it's going to depend on your market. What we can tell you in the US, what we see is independent appraisers are going to charge around the $125 per item. So some will do, so for example, a lot of retailers will include an appraisal with a new purchase free of charge. Items that are brought in, we're looking at $125, $145, some will go as high as $200 per items. It's basically them saying their customers, they don't really want to do it, but if the money's good enough, we'll do it. So I would say, we used to see the 65, 95, the 125. I think nowadays we're going to see more than $95 or $100 an item, all the way to that 175 to 200 per item. The hourly, now, I would say this is probably more appropriate for any pieces that is fairly new, that isn't basically a case study. Now, if I bring you a piece that was worn by a celebrity 50 years ago, well, wait a minute, now it's different. I may need to do some research. I may need to look at auction houses. I may need to look if it's real. Like, can I find pictures with that celebrity, with the item wearing it? Like, how do I make sure this is really, this was really owned and worn by that celebrity? Or it could be historical, it could be all these things. In that case, it doesn't make sense to charge per item, because you may take 3, 4, 5, 6 hours researching, making phone calls to people to help you research. In that case, so what we say is, for your typical common items, you can charge per item. If you spot a difficult assignment or a more sketchy assignment, go by the hour. And your rate is basically what is your time worth? Is it $100 an hour, $200 an hour? If you're going to get the help of an appraiser, a third-party appraiser or a friend or a colleague, how much do they charge for their time? So you may need consults on those pieces. So you may need to call people at different organizations to get feedback, to get advice. So this is what you need to account for, because it's not fair to you to spend 3 days on a single item and charge $200 or $150. So it's just, it makes more sense to charge per item, and also when it's a complicated assignment or a different assignment, charge by the hour. So a combination of the two would be my answer, is what we see.
Thank you. We have another retailer is asking, can you please go over the notification feature again? How does it work? Can we pull reports and decide who to notify?
So each customer account can be activated. When you activate an account, so basically if I go to my dashboard, I create an appraisal, I'm going to go, it's a new customer. Now you can see here, the only thing we need is first name, last name, but if you want to use the portal or just keep their information on file, you can use their email address. So email@domain.com, right? So if you put in their email address, we'll save that. Now I'm gonna go to my customers. It creates a profile for them, and you can activate that profile. So now Mr. Willett here is not active. So that is not my account, it's their account. What that means is that they do not have access to the customer portal. So if you want them to get access to the portal, you simply click activate Nicholas' account, and that will turn green. That emails the customer on your behalf. The email comes from our software, but it looks like it comes from you. Logo, name, all these things, your reply to email. So we never want the customer to be exposed to the Instappraise brand. Now, notifications is the next step. So, okay, they have access to the portal. Notifications, we're gonna give you settings like how often, every year, every 2 years, every 3 years. We recommend every year because, okay, you'll say every 3 years. Well, if they skip that 3-year renewal, you're gonna talk to them again in 6 years. So you missed the 3-year mark plus 3 years. So you spoke to them on day one, they skip the 3-year renewal, they get another renewal notification in 3 years from then, and that's 6 years. So that's a big gap. Like I said, items that are lower value, not a big deal. Items that are high value, high collection value, renewing every year, every 2 years might be more important. They might make more of a difference with the insurance premium. So we'll have settings like these when you want to renew, when you want the notifications to go out. In terms of be it to disable, we'll see what we can do. We could add a flag to say don't notify this customer like ever. You can turn it on or off. So we're going to launch the feature with as much customization as possible, but we may hold off on a lot of features and get feedback from our user base first. And that's a great question. That's a great way to get feedback. Is basically the reality is we're building this for you. So and there may be cases where notifications are appropriate, but sometimes not. But you still want their email on file. So we'll be able to give you more details exactly on that. But that's a great question. We'll make a note of that because it's always about keeping you in control. It's not up to the software to decide that no, you either contact everyone or you contact no one. This is not how the world works. There may be some of your customers that want to be notified, some that don't want to be notified, some of those in between, and we want you to be able to decide and control when those notifications go out. So that's the long answer to your question, but we'll probably have that feature.
Great, thank you. There's another question about one of the areas of your program that you showed, and this retailer is asking, is it possible to show the taken notes section? Does this include disclaimer and customer signature? Would it be a legally binding signature?
Yeah, so if you look at our documents, if I look at this document, for example, we just completed, we'll look at the document. So you can print multiple formats. So this is, you can print a format without a signature. So you can see here, the appraiser is listed, but it's meant to be printed and signed. Now, if you look at the digital version with signature, same thing, but it has a signature. That signature, if we don't have a file on your account that you provided, we're going to generate a signature on your behalf. But if not, we can scan, if you scan a copy of your signature, forward it to us, we'll format the file, add it to your account. And it is accepted by, I would say, 99.9% of all insurance companies. There used to be one company that pushed back because we didn't have those signatures. We added the feature, and then they were perfectly okay with it. But that's one time. That happened only once, I think, in the past 6 years. So yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Thank you. Another retailer is asking, do you have any examples of successful social media marketing for appraisal promotions? And I don't know if you haven't shown any, but I'm sure that we could probably provide something, correct?
So what we can do is, if I go back to our presentation, so let me just switch the presentation. So if I go back to, we can easily generate these images for you. So we don't, so basically, when you're doing promotion on social media or ads, you want something that's catchy, that looks good, that's catchy. We can generate those documents, those images for you. Same thing as these documents. So, with your account, we can help you generate those. Basically, marketing material we can help you with. So mostly images and assets that you can use on social media. That could be discussed at the appraisal clinics, or like those pictures or those image files could be used on your website, on social media. They could be printed as samples in store. So multiple options. We don't have options. We don't have, I mean, Instappraise does market using material like this, but we can convert, we can transform, we can create versions you can use to market your business and your appraisal business. So, and that's going to be upon request. So just let us know, and we'll see what we can do.
Great, thank you. Here's another question. How would you handle a customer who modified their item the day after their appraisal was created?
So it's okay to make mistakes. It will happen. Now, like if you, so basically it depends what the reason is. So if you create an appraisal on day one and you missed something or forgot something, it's okay. You can go back, edit, make the modification, notify your customer. It's about ethics. It's about ethics and transparency. So you should be able to go in, like I said, it's about keeping you in control. Now, if you're going to go in and change the appraisal just for the sake of it, just, for like, there's very little control we can have with that. Not recommended unless there's a valid reason for it. So the platform is going to allow you to do that simply because you need to be in control. But you have to ask yourself, what's the ethics behind it? Whether or not it happens is hard to say. There may be reasons. There are good reasons for this to happen, but it all depends on the real life scenario. Is it malicious? Is it for a good reason? Is your client notified? Sometimes the client will catch a mistake or a typo. That happens. We all make mistakes. So the appraiser will need to go back in and make the modification. But those documents are password protected. Your customers can't edit them. They can't modify them, even using Adobe Illustrator or those PDF editing formats software. So we do account for that. We try to protect our users, which is the appraisers and the retailers. So we do protect you against that. So those are all things we thought about. But yeah.
Gotcha. Well, that brings us to the top of the hour. We do have some questions that we're not able to answer during this webinar, but I will share those with you, Raphael, and I'm sure you'll be getting back to the retailers that have asked them.
Yeah.
Yep, go ahead.
Are you able to go over real quick? See if I can, a quick, short answer. Sorry to
No problem. Okay.
Yeah, I have more time, so it's entirely up to you.
All right. Why don't we do that then? Okay, so a retailer is asking, they said that they missed the information on how to add a cert, for example, GIA diagram to the appraisal. If I add the serial number of the stone, will the certification diagram be added to the appraisal?
Yeah, so 30 seconds will be done. So if we did an appraisal, we forgot one stone, we'll get at the document, go to components, add a diamond, pick the lab, GIA, type in the report number, import data, and we're done. Indicate how the stone is set, prong set, 4 prongs, save it, and we're done. Literally 20 seconds, I think is what it took. So extremely quick. So yes, that's how you do it. You go to your components, add a component of the type you're looking for, diamonds, pick the lab, type in the report number, and all the information is going to be pulled for you, and a copy of the cert is going to be attached automatically if it's available.
Great.
Yeah.
Good. That number is valuable. Here's a good question. A retailer is asking, can you provide examples of the type of fee sharing structures my store and an independent appraiser may agree to for clinics?
So this is a really tough one. It's going to depend. It's really, some people go with the 50-50. Basically, you got to look at what's involved in, you know, you look at the retailer provides the environment, the physical location, the venue. The retailer is going to be responsible for the marketing of the event, Facebook posts, newsletters, maybe they'll buy ad. So I would say 50-50 would be one idea. Now you got to look at what value does the appraiser provide on top of creating the appraisals. It creates the opportunity to bring customers to the store, which is a huge value. So it could be 60-40, 70-30. I really can't really, or it could be a fixed fee per item. It could be I wouldn't suggest an hourly fee. I would do a per item fee, unless once again, they like those special, really unique scenarios come in. I would do a per item fee. At the end of the day, it's about the relationship between the two parties. How are they comfortable with the fee? Getting a qualified appraiser is valuable. And we see the industry not valuing their time appropriately. So don't be afraid to pay your appraiser. They bring a ton of value to you and your store and your customers. Be fair to them, be generous to them, and you can build great relationships, and whenever you need them, they'll be there for you. So that's a bit of a non-answer, but that's as much as I can do. It's really just up to you and the business and the third party.
Thank you. Here's a question. Someone is asking if your program, your platform, does it integrate or sync with the Edge point of sale?
Not yet. It's a work in progress. It's just a conversation. We spoke with the team at the Edge multiple times. We're getting closer and closer. The next step of the platform is integrating with third parties, with the ecosystem. What else do you use in store? How can we eliminate those steps? So integrating with point of sale systems like the Edge is, you know, in the near future for Intappraise.
Great, gotcha. Here's another question, actually a few, or retailers asking, or actually saying they have a certified gemologist appraiser, but can you help us to find an independent appraiser with best credentials? Also sharing with client files securely. What do you recommend when sending electronically? Can you answer that question? I guess they want to know if you can recommend appraisers yourself. And then the second part of that is safety when sending things electronically.
So there are great resources for that. If you go to the NAJA website, you'll be able to find appraisers across North America. That's the best way to go. So go to the NAJA website, find a local appraiser. You can search by state or by companies, or cities. So you can narrow down those appraisers, usually very high quality. You talk, you know, whether it's ASA, AGA, like I said, a lot of appraisers are very qualified, the ISG, but NAJA appraisers as well, great relationship with them, but find an independent. There are multiple sites out there where you can search for appraisers. This is as close as I can get to an answer. We don't recommend, because we want to be fair to all of our users, but you'll find great resources on there. So, and great appraisers, reliable people, and very professional appraisers. And the second part of that question was, securing. So now, in terms of sharing your documents securely, you can download your PDF files when you go to print. You can download them, save them, email them. That's one way to do it. Those documents, if I edit them in Adobe Illustrator, I can't modify them. So I can view them, but I can't modify them. Now, another way to do it is activating those customer portals. So if I sign out of my account, I'm going to sign in as a customer. That's what your customer will see. So this is one more way to share those customers. Every portal for every customer is password protected. So that's one more way to share those customers. Now, There are certain things we can't do for you. Number one, get the right email address on file. A typo could send it to the right person. You don't want that. So verify the email address of your customer. Be very diligent with that. Right phone number, right email address. But yeah, that would be my best advice on that.
Thank you. Here's another question. Can I upload my saved appraisals from my Word program into Instappraise software? Contact my past clients for updating their appraisals. So I guess they're asking if, you know, having the old-fashioned way, can you upload those in order to update them via Instappraise later?
It's not possible at this time because your documents may be structured differently than other documents or other appraisers. So now the good news is AI may be able to scan your documents and say, okay, here, this is the name of the customer, this is the email of the customer, this is the carat weight for the diamond, so AI may be able to help in the future scanning your documents if it's something you want to do. We can't scan your document, your Word documents, and do that. If you've used previous softwares that provide a database file, we can import those at times. It depends on which software. But we have imported from Edge and Carat and softwares like those. If you have some data in an Excel spreadsheet, we may be able to help you, but importing everything from Word is not possible at this time, but something that may be possible, we'll see. But
okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. There's another part of a question I left off and the jeweler kindly reminded me. Okay, so it says also the intake form, does it include a liability release in case of loss while in our possession?
So our taken forms, if I look at, let's see here, if I print the form, so taken form is basically just, okay, we took these items for valuation for insurance purposes. Job fee is optional. We have a disclaimer. So it said we hereby acknowledge reception of the below jewelry items for appraisal and or repair purposes. The disclaimer here, citizen employees responsible for identification connection sounds. Right, so we do include that. So, and any damage and or loss would be limited to the actual cost to repair or replace the item. So now that would be insurance, unfortunately. So that would be something you would need to take with your insurance. Legally speaking, if I bring in an item to a jeweler and they lose it, I would say this is a loss, and this would be an insurance matter by the jeweler's insurance. So it depends. Now, if it affects your premium too much, you could say, well, or if the customer is insured, but now again, does it fall under the customer's insurance or the jeweler's insurance? So this is a legal matter. I don't feel comfortable giving you a legal advice. Yeah. We do include a disclaimer. It's fairly generic. Something to review with a lawyer or an expert might be a more reliable source than me. So
great, thank you. And here's our last question: is the create a jewelry quote button for sending a replacement value quote for insurance companies?
Yeah, so you can use the quote for a custom jewelry item. So we'll do an existing customer. We'll do Jane Doe. We're going to select that, and here we can pick a custom jewelry quote. We could do a replacement quote. So our quotes look very familiar, very similar to our appraisals. Let me see what we have here. So our quotes could be used for, here there's nothing on this one. Let me see. Perfect, so this quote, for example, can be used for a custom job. It can be used for a replacement. So you can use those for, and we have multiple document types you can pick from, especially for those purposes. So if it is a custom jewelry quote for a new customer, hey, I want to create, I want to propose to my girlfriend, I'd like to get this custom engagement ring made. How much would it cost with this, this, and that? Well, this is where you would produce a quote. It may give you an advantage to provide a professional quote to your customer. Or if it's a replacement quote, you could do that as well. Like I said, if you edit your document, pick the proper document type, but we do have replacement quotes as well for insurance.
Great. Well, thanks, Raphael, for a really informative webinar, as I mentioned. And we're going to be sending out a link to watch the webinar again. You can view it, or you can share it with a colleague so that everyone can learn about Instappraise. It will also be posted on the In-Store Magazine website under the education banner, and it should be there probably by Monday. And that's about it. We will, in the email we sent you today, we're going to have Raphael's contact info and Instapraise's important URL and all that good stuff. So again, thanks for watching, everyone. And Raphael, thank you again for a really informative hour. We appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day. And Instappraise.com, we have a free trial. You can schedule your demo. We'll take good care of you. So go to the website, apply to the scholarships, sign up to the free trial, and look forward to working with you. Thanks, everyone.
Absolutely. Thank you. Bye now.